Girl, I wish I had an older brother that had a best friend that I could fall for.
Girl, I do have an older brother, and that shit only happens in the dramas.
Hi guys, I'm Lael,
And I'm Courtney.
and welcome to our new All the Drama podcast, where two best friends talk about
Korean,
Japanese,
Thai,
and Chinese dramas. So sit back and listen while we rant and ramble about the scenes that made us cry, laugh, and squeal with excitement.
Now, girl, tell me all the drama.
I. Welcome back, drama addicts. Today we're talking about the Chinese drama Hidden Love.
Let me start off by saying how much I love this drama. The acting in this was so incredibly natural. I literally forgot I was watching a drama.
Girl, I agree so much. Every single one of these actors should receive an award for this. But you know what I loved most, though, is that she may have fell first, but he fell harder. I adore that trope so much.
I love it when the man loves more. I do.
It just it makes the relationship so much better. So, on a side note, everyone, just to let you know that there will be two parts to the series, just because we love to talk so much and we think that anything over an hour is just a little too long. So we'll probably be splitting this up, but fear not, both parts will be uploaded within a day of each other, so we won't make you wait that long. So let's start off with the main female lead, Sang Zhi, affectionately known as Zhi.
Before we go on, you know how I kept saying in go ahead. So, dear listeners, if we're keeping this part in, I don't think his nickname is Juju and go ahead. I think I got some people confused.
I swear to God, I told her I did not remember that.
So adamant.
She's just like, oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm like,
that.
okay.
In spite of you.
I hate you so much. Stop. 4 episodes later.
At least we've
I don't know if that's going to make it in.
It was a nickname.
Let's
It
start
was
off-
just a nickname for a different character in a different series. Even a different gender.
Let's start off with the main female lead, Sang Shi, affectionately known as Zhi. I think this actress that plays this character, she plays it so perfectly. I love the way she was both cute but kind of headstrong. They balanced her perfectly with being both adorable and stubborn at the same time. And honestly, usually the overtly cutesy girls tend to get on my nerves, but like she didn't. And even though she had like one-sided feelings for her brother's friend, she wasn't really annoying about it, which I appreciate.
You know, I couldn't agree more. Like I love this actress. Her acting is just out of this world. She's so expressive in everything she does. I believe she's actually won a pretty major award this year in China for her skillful acting capabilities. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure. But I've watched several other dramas that she's in, and not a single one of them have let me down. So if you do see her, you're gonna know that whatever drama it is, it's gonna be seriously good.
All right, I'll have to look up some more of her dramas because I haven't seen her in anything else personally. This is the first drama that I've seen her in. Moving on to Duan Jiaqiu. All I have to say is this guy is a walking green flag. He's almost too perfect.
He's incredibly perfect, so perfect. He's lacked love and care so much in his life, but has no problem giving all that he has to the people he loves.
But that also makes me feel so sad for him because like people who usually have a hard time like saying what they want because they have a fear of not being liked or loved and them trying so hard to be perfect because they don't want anyone to find fault in them. Because like you see him trying so hard in this drama to be kind of so nobody will criticize him.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I know, and the fact that he also tried to please her parents too. Uh, can we ask for a better man? Like speaking of her parents, can you believe that we actually finally have decent parents in a drama we're covering? I feel like we haven't had that yet.
Oh my God, yes. I love how they were involved, but not too involved.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's great. And then we have her brother, Sang Yan. Oh my God, I love him. He was so cute. And then I found out that he's also American. Like he grew up in America and went to, I think, the University of California or something like that. Because his Chinese is amazing. Like I would have never guessed he grew up in
Would
America.
have never guessed it.
but him playing the older brother was like perfect. Their sibling dynamic relationship between him and his sister, it was so realistic. The way he fought with her all the time, but then when she got her heart broken, he was there for her. He was so cute. Like I almost like him more for me a little bit sometimes. He's more attractive to me. But anyway,
No, I totally get that. I have a super crush on her brother. Probably a bit more than the main character, which is saying a lot because I love this main character.
girl, same.
But yeah, no, not only do I love the absolute sibling dynamic in this, his character, I love his character as well. Um, I love how he can play the annoying brother, but then you can also see just how crazy protective he is over his little sister and how much he adores her and worries about her.
I know. He affectionately calls her my little demon.
I know,
Oh,
it's so
so
cute.
cute. But not only is he adorable, but he also picks really good friends whom I adore. So let's talk about them.
They're seriously the cutest group of guys. Like when I kept seeing them together, I kept referring to them in my head as like the superhero gang. Uh due to, especially to the episode where they all show up in front of her school to like get back at the bullies that were bullying her. If you notice when she came out, they were all kind of like posing, and the way they were all posing and looking at her, I just instantly thought of like, oh, they think they're superheroes.
I loved it. I just the way they had his back and his sister's back.
Oh, I
It was
I
so cute.
absolutely loved it. That scene too. Like they are just the friend group is spot on in this.
Yeah, I love referring them to that. That's a cute way of saying it. The superhero
Hmm.
gang. But I actually really just love how they portray an actual guy group of friends that like talk to each other. You know,
Right. That actually like show emotion and care for one another.
yeah, and expressed feelings.
Hmm.
Like Jia Yu talked to his friend about developing feelings for Sangzhi and then sought his advice, and they actually played a role in the drama
Yeah.
more so than just the side characters. I feel.
Hmm. Yeah. And the last character on our list is the other girl.
To be honest, I really don't even know her name. I did not care that much for
No,
her name.
it no.
But yeah, we got some hardcore untreated mental illness here.
For sure, because she's not just a debtor. She's not just like someone chasing after him for money. She's his legit stalker. And honestly, I personally think hella dangerous.
One thing that I don't understand is why the hell she would fall for a guy whose dad killed her
She's
dad.
mentally unwell. That's the only reason. I
Apparently.
mean, literally, that's she saw a guy paying attention to her and thought, "Oh, here's he can't ever leave me." Like she's just freaking
Wow.
mentally unwell.
Yeah, she needs to let him go. Poor baby.
But yeah. So those are our characters. Moving onwards into our first scene, our opening scene, and can we say what a cute opening? I just love the way we get to see the sibling dynamic right off the bat, as well as see how incredibly charming Duan Jiayu is just within a couple seconds. Literally just a couple seconds of meeting him.
Okay, I found it so hilarious that instead of thinking, oh, my brother has a guest because he looks completely different, no, she asks if he got plastic surgery. Like, girl, that was your first thought?
I couldn't
Where does her mind go?
I couldn't stop laughing at the fact she thought her brother got plastic surgery, or the way she then proceeded to fight with her brother about it after.
I love that she fought with her brother even though she needed to get something from him.
Oh, I know. And then can we talk about how Jaju's the only way I can explain it is like a comical expression during the entire times he's watching these two fight each other. And then when she turns, it gets even funnier when she turns on the waterworks because he looks so taken aback, but also like trying so hard not to laugh as well.
Because he's like dealing with just like a roller coaster of emotions and he's never had that because he's, a single child. So he's never really seen that sibling dynamic because like I remember doing that when I was a kid to my brothers, even though they're younger to me. Those waterworks can come on and off when you need
Oh,
them to.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But I love how he saw all that, right? Saw how kind of manipulative she was, even at that age, right? And then guilt trips him into playing her older brother to get her out of trouble at school.
I
And it
know.
works. And he does it.
And you know the fact that you can see within, I mean, she has him wrapped around her finger within like not even 5 minutes of them meeting.
Yep.
Like you can just see how he just straight up adores and finds her just adorable. And how can you not? Like seriously, how could you not?
Right.
But speaking of the guilt tripping him into meeting her teacher, um, I personally love how he to just shows up for her. He literally didn't have any obligation to do so. He even told her brother about the situation, and her own brother wasn't planning on going to help her out. Uh, and honestly, it's no shock for me that she develops kind of like a hero worship for this guy when she's younger, because how could she not? And I think it just shows once again how incredible of a person Jia Yu is. Um, he sees a damsel in distress and he can't help but scoop in and save the day.
You're right. It really does show his character when he goes and meets her teacher. But I also kind of think he did it just because it was slightly entertaining. I mean, he got kind of beat by a young girl and guilt tripped it. So he's like, all right, let's go see what she got in trouble for. Though I do have to say, in the beginning, I really, like, we knew that they were probably going to end up getting together in the future. But, like, I really thought her affection might be because he's always helping her, as we see, like, in later scenes. So I really thought that was just going to be like a hero worship turned into like what she thought was love. But I like the way that they show them slowly getting to know each other as she grows up in a more appropriate setting,
Yeah.
and how it grew into love.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think we do have a lot of like when she is younger, hero worship that kind of turns into like a
Mm-hmm.
puppy love. And then I love how we have that. And then when they reunite and actually get to know each other more as individuals, um, I just love seeing both sides of the coin with that.
Yeah, it was cute.
But speaking of how amazing, not only he is, but her brother is too, I have to talk about one of my favorite scenes, which starts off right in episode 2. I mean, and we have what? We have 25 episodes of this, and this is why we're going to have 2 parts. But
Yeah.
I call it the tampon shopping.
Look, men are all the same across cultures when it comes to girls and their period, okay? So when Gigi gets her period while they're going out to eat, and now these boys have to go shopping for tampons, I swear to God, they all think that the cashier is going to think it's for them. We know it's not for you.
I just love how this is like a universally awkward moment that spans across cultures. This scene is, again, hands down my favorite. Both boys are so freaking awkward when they're shopping and such goofballs. But it shows again how caring they are too, because the thought they put behind the situation, especially Duan Jiayu, the fact that he's the one who recognizes she needs like a dark skirt to replace the one she already had prior, or the fact that he has foresight to like
Mm.
not be there when she comes out of the bathroom because he knows she's going to be embarrassed, and creating that setup story, that was all his idea, which I just thought was so incredibly sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many guys that probably do that, but let alone, have friends who would help you with their sister like
Hmm.
that. But it is really cute. It's really sweet, and it just shows how more of an incredibly sweet person he is. So,
Especially because, like you pointed out earlier too, and I didn't think about it until you pointed it out, how he is an only sibling. So to have that foresight, I love him. I love how humorous this scene is, and over the top sweetness we get in it, um, and how what could have been like such
and
a terrible moment for her was avoided and turned
yeah.
into such a sweet, cute little memory.
And see, this is why, like, when they were younger in the beginnings, I really didn't read so much into his actions being so much as like the beginnings of love type of actions. I really read into his actions as his best friend has a sister. His best friend's kind of taken me in as part of his family because he doesn't really have one, and has accepted him into his home, my his parents, my sister, and now he thinks of her as his little sister.
Well, absolutely. Like,
So,
no, I agree. Like, there's nothing, and that's what I kind of love about the series. We don't have any weirdness. Like, it is appropriate. The feelings he has for her when she's a little girl, which she's 14, so she's not little, but you know what I mean. They're appropriate. They're solely, he just takes her in as his little sister and loves her because
mhm,
he views her as family, because he views his best friend as family.
yeah, because they're really close.
Exactly. And I think that's why he kind of goes above and beyond for her. And I think he just finds her completely adorable. Again, how could you not with her
Hmm.
character? Like going on to like another one of my favorite scenes. And
Every scene
I
is your
know.
favorite scene. Literally, I'm typing, like, listen, listeners, I'm typing the script out, right? And she's like, another favorite scene of mine. Another favorite.
It
I'm
was
like, they're all your favorite scenes.
it
They're all our
it
favorite
was
scenes.
so hard because there's just so many cute moments. And like another one is in episode 2 still. Where he helps with her write her essay for school. And this is like one of my favorite moments because again, well, every moment's my favorite moment, but I just loved this so much solely because of how amazing he is. Like again, he doesn't have any responsibility in helping her out with her essay. He goes but he goes out of his way to meet up with her and help her write it, figure it out and write it herself. Um and I think this is such an important scene and look into the type of character he is, like the type of person he is, because what we find out is the most important things in Jiayu's world at this time is time and money. We find this out in more detail later in later episodes, but that knowledge just makes coming back to this scene all the more sweeter. And what I mean by that is we know that Nuan Jiayu's entire world revolves around paying off his father's debts. He doesn't have free time. His focus is entirely on school and working as many jobs that he can physically hold down. He barely has any time to spend with his friends, and he's so busy that he doesn't even have time to attempt finding a girlfriend or keeping one in his life, even if he wanted to. So, knowing all of this and the fact that he still goes out of his way to make the time for Zhezhe is just, oh, just melts my. He is gladly able to give her his time and his money. I mean, even in this scene, he buys her a little cupcake and a drink. But even in future scenes, he's always buying her something to eat or drink, something to take care of her. And again, I can't stress how special that is when we know that those two things really do mean the most for him at this time of his life.
I'm going to be honest here and say I did not read that much into this scene when I first saw it. So I can't believe you picked all that up, but you're not wrong. You are correct. It's the little things that make you see how above and beyond he goes for Zhezhe. And like you said, he's spending time that he can't get back on a girl and she has like no idea. I guess it makes it also a little bittersweet when you realize what he's giving up by helping her a little bit, but
Well,
it
exactly.
is a cute moment.
And like you said, like the first time I watched that scene, it took the context. I saw that scene completely different going back and rewatching it after knowing everything we know now about his life at this time, about all the struggles he was facing at this time. And
Mhm.
again, we see, oh my God, we see him be so incredible again.
And another one of her
Another one
favorite
of my
scenes.
favorite scenes. Where in episode 3, it's the bullying, it's the aftermath of the bullying scene. So we just see that Jojo's bestie, who's supposed to be her bestie, just tricked her into walking down an alleyway and getting harassed and robbed by these older girls. Um,
Mhm.
and let me tell you, this man literally shows up every single time she's in distress. He is always showing up for her, and I just love him for that. Um, so in this scene, Duan Jiayu is freaking out because he's trying to find Zhezhe. He was supposed to pick her up
Mhm.
from school in lieu of her brother, but when he shows up, she's not there. There's no students left at the school, and she's not answering her phone. So he's frantically calling her and freaking out. And all of a sudden, he sees her walking out of this alley, and at first, we can see that he's really angry and he's kind of irritated. But that quickly changes when he gets close enough to see that she's disheveled and holding back tears. And when he sees that, he instantly, all that irritation and that annoyance we see turns straight into worry. And when he sees that she can't even get the words out to explain what just happened to her, the way he tucks her in to just hold her so tenderly, and then is telling her all the while that everything's okay because he's here now. No wonder she loves this man.
Me and you saw this scene totally differently because I do love that the fact that he, looks for her and find her in such a cute moment. First, I remember the most is one, despite how scared she was, like in front of the bullies, like she was smart about
Mhm.
it. She like let the bullies take what they wanted, not to let it not to let it escalate. Two, she got betrayed by a friend who she confronted after this. She's like, "You need to tell your parents what's going on, and we're not gonna be friends anymore." But I think my favorite part was when we discussed in the beginning when we called them the superhero
Mhm.
gang was that her brother and his friends just came to like basically protect the girl and protect Zhizhi and scare the gang of girls into never touching them again.
Which I just, that scene was so adorable, and I love everything you pointed out. But all I could focus on is how I am literally falling in love with this man as I'm watching this scene. Because again,
And see, this is
after he comforts her, he goes and he buys her a drink to make her feel better, and he's doing things to make her smile. And then when she shows up at home, he literally gives her, I think it's about 50 yen. I think that's what it was.
mm-hmm,
It's the money, it's the same amount that, or around the same amount that was stolen from her. And again, we
mm-hmm.
know, like, this is so touching because we know how hard he works to get that money. And the fact that he just hands it over to her, like, I I fall in love with a fictional character, and I fall every single time I watch a scene. That's what this comes down to. I love the
I
superhero
mean,
gang.
me and you both
I
do.
love the superhero gang. I love when they come in and everything they do, but I can't, all I can focus on, and I love her strength and the strength we see from her, but all I can focus on is how I'm falling in love with a man that's not real.
As we always do when we watch these
Oh
dramas
no,
because they're
it's not
never
fair.
real in every single drama we watched. But no, you're not wrong. It just is so funny. Like that's what you focus on and hyper focus on, and I just love watching the brother save, and then he gives his. I think what the
They're so
most okay,
dumb.
the most I know the scene that I actually remember most from this is when the group of gang is like just like confronting the girls, right? And she's just in the corner like with a sucker in her mouth, looking like, "That's right,
Right? Yeah.
my group of rabid dogs are here.
How
What
they all
now?"
show up and they're ready to like beat some ass, and
Yeah. They all thought it was boys, by the way, and then they realized there was a girl. They're
their
like,
faces when she
"It's fine. It's okay."
their faces when she says girls is so freaking hilarious. Like these
I
doofuses, I,
know.
I love I love their little gang. I do.
I love it so much. So after that, we actually skip, I think, an episode or two, maybe,
About, yeah,
and
we're
we go into the scene where Jojo is failing physics,
yeah, it's
right?
physics.
And their first thought was, let's get the brother to tutor.
I
Family should never tutor family.
No. And this is when I kind of fell in love with the brother because he is so freaking hilarious. Like the dynamic between these two is so funny. They get the sibling stuff spot on. Like I can't believe they're not siblings in real life. And
No, for real though, because every time I watch them interact and they're fighting or being sibling like, I just bring back all the memories from me and
uh-huh.
my brother.
Exactly. Exactly. And I can't help but burst out laughing every single time I watch it. Like, I've watched this series at least 3 or 4 times now, and this scene has me cracking up every single time. But,
Same.
yeah, I don't know what her parents were thinking when they thought it would be a good idea to hire him. But basically, I love it because we have her sitting at the desk next to him, and his way of tutoring her is going, this equals this equals this. Got it? Good. Next, this equals this. And she goes, whoa, 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 wait. What do you mean that this equals this? Can you repeat that? And then he he gets so frustrated and annoyed with her that she doesn't just understand it. And then they get into a screaming match, and then they get into like a pillow fight match. And then when she goes to run out of the room, he screams in her face, and the way he it is just so freaking funny to watch.
I died laughing. I swear to God, the way, oh, I can't even recreate that face, but it was so
And then
funny.
after, when she collapses on the bed crying, the look of just pure exasperation that comes from him.
I know. He's like, this is what I have to put up with.
But yeah, and then the scene then cuts to them sitting downstairs with their parents. They're both sitting at two opposite ends of the couch, and they're both like at the same time. He says to their parents, she's too dumb. And she says he's too impatient. And their parents just look so done.
And then, of course, who else do they turn to but Duan Jiaxu?
I know.
Which brings us into the beginning of the episode 5, because that was episode 4. But this really just shows like how patient and amazing of a tutor Jia Yu ends up being to Zhizhi, which is again no surprise because we've seen him help her many times before this.
He's literally perfect in every way. Like, everything he does is just so freaking perfect.
And this is how we know he only exists in Dramaland. We see how much effort he puts into making sure that she not only understands the material, but retains it as well. So completely different than his best friend.
Exactly. And I love that he recognizes one of the main issues she has about physics is that she finds it boring, which I think is a reoccurring thing with her in her studies, because she is very intelligent. She just gets bored easily. And so he decides that the best way to get her engaged with the material is to take her to a museum where he can show her how physics can actually be fun, and this is how it's, you see it in your daily life. And it's just an amazing idea that actually really works, because after this takes place, her grades just shoot through the roof.
And we see her more, developing a crush on him, and one-sided still, obviously. But it's really cute because all the time she spends with him unknowingly, makes her crush just deeper and deeper. And that's why we get this next scene we affectionately call the runaway to the airport scene. But before we get into how she gets to meet him at Ihe, that's how you pronounce it. First of all, how does an unaccompanied minor get all the way to a different province in China? Like, they must have different laws, because that would not fly here in the United States. Like, if you're under 18, you have to be flying with a parent.
I don't know, because I didn't fly until I was in my late 20s.
Well, yeah, but like, you can't fly if you're under 18 here, like by yourself, unless you call the airline and be like, "Hey, she's an unaccompanied minor."
That is a very good question. That is a very good question. And I don't know the answer to it, but I do cry literally every time I watch a scene.
Right.
Like, the absolute raw emotion that we get from this girl. I know we've said it already. I don't want to harp on it, but I just have to point out again how absolutely phenomenal of an actress this woman is. She never fails to really take us into these sad, gut-wrenching scenes and just wreck our souls with the overwhelming sadness.
So basically, to set up the scene, Jia Yu had to move back to Ihe to be closer to his father, who's in a coma. But before he left, him and Ginger were able to make a promise that if he ever found a girl that he wanted to date, he would make sure to introduce her first to Ginger. So it comes as a complete surprise when her brother says one day out of the blue that Jiayu got himself a girlfriend. And Ginger, who is, I think, 16 at this moment,
Mhm.
was completely devastated and didn't want to believe that it's true. So what does she do, Courtney?
She decides she's gonna skip school. She's gonna skip a whole day of school and book herself an airplane ticket to Yihe to ask.
Which, how can she afford? Like, does her
I
mom give her
I
a
have
credit
a
card or
feeling
something?
because her parents adore her too. Like we see how much she's
That's true.
adored. I have a feeling that they might just like throw money at her.
I would say, I mean, they're kind of loaded. Have you seen their
Yeah,
house?
like that's the vibes I get is that she asks for money here
Yeah,
and there, she probably saves it, and that's probably how this was able to take place. But
that's probably it.
yeah, no, she decides that she's gonna travel all the way to a different province and ask Xiaoyu about the girlfriend in person. And when she arrives, Xiaoyu is made aware of the situation by her brother and rushes over to the airport. He uh he, as well as the rest of the family, are completely freaking out with worry because she told her brother that she went to fly over there to meet an online guy that she is into. So everyone's worried that she's going to be taken advantage of and essentially kidnapped by a pervert.
Yeah, I know. It was so funny that she made up this online story.
I know,
Uh,
right?
but I still think it was so cute though that they made her drop everything, get a plane ticket to Iche to see him because it just shows she's still kind of childish in her feelings. I mean, she is 16. Like, we're not expecting her to be an adult. But that's exactly what a teenager would do if
Absolutely.
they had money, is to drop everything to go see a guy that they like if the guy that they like is dating someone else and they need to confirm it,
That is
you
such
know?
a good observation to point out because they really do, and I'll get into it a bit more, but they really do try everything in their power to really showcase her sh- that she's a child in this scene. And like so yeah, doing flying, going and skipping school and flying to a province um is something a teenager who thinks is in love would do. And
Hmm.
when she gets there, we see that there's a woman that shows up with Xiaoyu. And this is what I mean about the directors really try to make her look as young as possible next to this woman because it is such a contrasting image where we see Xiaoyu and we see this gorgeous woman next to him, and the woman is in business casual clothing, kind of chic looking, very put together and just fashionable and beautiful and older, like around his age. And then we see her
Hmm.
standing next to Jia Yu, and then Jia Yu standing next to Zhizhi, who is in her school uniform in an over baggy sweatshirt with a kid scarf. Like it's a bear scarf that has little bear ears on it. Like it and it's wrapped around her a whole bunch. Like it literally makes her look like she's 14, 13 years old.
Right. That's like one thing I don't like about this series, and we'll get probably more into it like on our closing thoughts. But they really do try to make her look extremely younger than she needs to be. Because if you think about it, she should be 16 at that moment at the airport, right? He's only 5 years older than her. So he's roughly going to be in his 20s. So he's probably like 20,
Yeah.
21. They make him look like he's like 23, 24 because she's such a sophisticated older
Hmm.
woman. And you're like, why is this extremely older guy? I don't
They
know.
did. And I get it in this scene. Like I'll harp on things later about my thoughts
Yeah.
on some other things they do to make her look or act young. But in this scene, I get it because they really are trying to reinforce how she just doesn't fit in his life.
Right, but they make him seem
They
so much
do.
older than he should be. He 21 is still a dumb idiot, okay? I know this. I'm older than 21. There's still youngins.
And when they've this is Again, this is a great observation because it always kind of feels like they went out of their way to make that age gap seem so much larger than it was. Like he always acted like such a good older brother, but older in like I would say like almost a decade, honestly. Like
Kind
the
of,
way
right?
how this feels, it feels like it would have made more sense if they made her 14 or 15 and him 24 or 25. Like it feels like there's like a larger age gap than there is.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I didn't really like. It kind of threw me off. Because then I'm just like, okay, this is too much of an age gap at this moment to be
Right.
appropriate. That's like not cool. But when you think about it, it's only 5 years, and he's known her for
And don't
at least 4 or 5 before
right, and
that.
don't get me wrong. At this point, it is inappropriate. She is 16. She is a child.
Yeah,
That I get. I just feel like they go a little
too
yeah.
far. I do too. I
And
don't like
not
it because
in
like
just this scene. This scene,
yeah,
I loved the visual contrast. I love seeing this older woman next to him and how she just fits with his image, and then seeing our little child star,
baby
baby girl,
girl.
our little baby girl next to her, and him.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like we see the scene and it's so heart-wrenching because he's still being so sweet and caring to her,
I know.
and he doesn't even realize how badly her heart is breaking in two. And that's when Juju realizes that she needs to let him go and like really let him go.
Yeah, and again, the watching the realization form on like we can see it in her expression and even in her body. Like it's almost like I can feel her tense up. I can feel the tension kind of fall over her where she's trying to hold it together because her heart's literally breaking into pieces because she is realizing in this moment for the first time that there really isn't any hope. There's no chance that they're going to be together. And in order for her to move on, she realizes and recognizes in that moment that she needs to walk away. She needs to say goodbye. And
And I
he's
love that.
completely oblivious.
Okay, yeah. Nothing kills me more than like unresolved issues because we talk about this in part 2 when they reunite that they stop talking, and he has no idea why. And we find out that he did try to stay in contact, but she was the one that kind of didn't
Mm-hmm.
respond. So we see how serious she was in her promise to let herself let him go. I love that she allowed herself to suffer this heartbreak. And I know that sounds weird, but I think it needed to happen. One, because she's 16, their young puppy love feelings, and she saw how she didn't fit in his life. And she didn't stay pining over him. I absolutely love that she's like, you know what? It was a good chapter of my life. I have to let it close and move on. And then when she moves to Ige, when she goes to college, she has like no intention of reconnecting with him.
None. And I kind of loved how they went about this because she
Hmm.
truly they needed the separation. I don't think he would have
Yeah.
ever been able to view her as anything more than a little sister if she hadn't distanced herself during this time in her life, because when he pops back in, she's an adult now, and like
4 years is a long time.
no, it's a 2-year age gap. It's a 2-year time skip. They do a 2-year time skip from that moment. So she must have been 17 then.
Because if it's 2 years, then my timeline is so off.
But that's why I feel like he should be 26 or 27 because they make it feel like he is. They make him feel so much older than he is. Because I get like this every time I watch it. I get super confused about the ages in this. Because they make her feel so much younger. Meanwhile, they make him feel so much older. And that's the thing, too. They make him so established. He has his own car, he has his own place. He's like this big deal at this company. All of that feels like someone approaching 30, not someone who's approaching 25. I'm just saying.
I swear to God, they said he was turning 26. I swear to God, I don't know why. I'm watching if I have to watch
I
this all
made
again, I
sure
swear
to
to God.
clock the ages on this because they confuse me so much. because I feel
She
like
was
he looks
16.
and acts like he is in his late 20s. And she,
Right, which makes sense on why the parents were so fucking
yeah,
protective.
but he's not. It's only 5 years.
It's not.
Which, when they reunite when she's 19 and he's 24, well, actually, they 18. She turns 19. But so when he's 23, she's 18. It's not that. I mean, think about our culture. And it could be a culture thing, but like when I was 18, I wouldn't bat an eye if someone my age was dating a 23, 24-year-old. You know,
No.
the eye battery came when we were 18, 19, and someone was trying to date someone who was 10 years or older. That's what I remember. I remember being freaked
Right.
out on dating apps or meeting someone and hearing that they're, oh, I'm 29, I'm 20, I'm 28 and I'm 18, and being like, "Oh no, you're too sophisticated for me."
So yeah, pretty much she gives up on her little puppy love crush. 2 years later, she still goes to Ige for college, which is kind of funny that she still ends up choosing Ige for college, even though she didn't want to see him
Mhm.
again. I think she subconsciously
Oh,
did,
absolutely. Well, that and
you know?
and she basically she took her childhood dream that revolved around him, but then actually made it revolve around herself, which I kind of loved that.
See? I do love I do love that too. I really do. Um,
She went 2 years. She went 2 years ignoring his texts and phone calls.
and I thought it was 4. Damn.
Well, I guess it sounds a bit better for you.
That would, honestly. And that's the first part of Hidden Love. Like I said, we talk quite a bit.
We will
But
jump right back after the 2-year time skip when our main characters get reunited.
right, so we will upload part 2 tomorrow. So be sure to follow so you can get notified on when the next part is up. So talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.